Right, this story is long overdue. Picture the scene. I'm 23. I'm in front of a classroom of high school students. My head is full of knowledge. I've got a bachelor's degree, half of a master's degree, 1 year of teacher training, and yet I've got zero authority. What's going to happen, do you think? Dun, dun, dun! Welcome. So, back to the story. I'm 23. Head full of knowledge but zero authority because my teacher training was inadequate to say the least. But I led you astray because this class wasn't mine. I was only a teaching assistant. There was a proper qualified teacher that was teaching his class. I was only joining. However, there's a lot of things I've learned. First of all, one thing that they don't teach you, I hope they do now, but with teacher training, is that being a teacher isn't about mastering the subject. It does help a lot. It is a big part, maybe, but an equally big part, if not bigger part, is crowd control. You're not only a teacher, you're supposed to be really a prison warden. Why? Why do I say that? Is because unfortunately, most of the kids that are there have to be there. It's not what they would like to do for several reasons. Sometimes not really their fault. It's difficult for them to learn. A couple of reasons, a bit more than a couple. One, maybe at home life is really hard, so they kind of take it out on the school system. So they don't like authority, they chafe at it, they resist it, and obviously it goes against their learning anything at school. That's one. Second, it may just be that the model that the school system is still operating under is a very teacher centered model. You listen and you learn, you take notes, you obey, you apply, you don't question. And for some students, that's problematic. That's not the way they learn best. They may learn best by being immersed in an environment. They may be more hands on. And of course, sometimes the subject matter themselves are boring to say the least. So, yeah, there's that. And there's also a third type, which I'm very familiar with, is that the format of school is centered on amassing a lot of knowledge, but you're not allowed to make connections. Every discipline is different from the other, and you can't bring one discipline into another. You can't make connections. You have to treat each subject as its own entity, which is not the way the world functions. Everything is interconnected. But these are just the three obstacles to learning that I find, which make the school system difficult, which makes the job of a teacher difficult because it could be more enjoyable, but it's not for both parties. So, yeah, this is one of the things I didn't know that I know now. But there's something else. A bit of context. I was 23, but the school system assumes that by that time, you already know where you want, what you want to do, where you want to be headed. But it wasn't the case for me. I had multiple interests and not enough time or any structure to be able to explore those. So I did what the system allowed me to do. So the best bet was I like languages, I loved English, therefore I was gonna become an English teacher. So the plan was simple. I go to England, do a little stint of teaching to add that to my CV, come back to Guadeloupe, finish my teacher training, and become a teacher. However, when confronted with the reality on the ground of what teaching is like, I changed my mind. Because you see, not only did I feel too green, too young, inexperienced for the job, I also looked very young. This is me at 23. You'd never know I'm not a student. Anyway, and what crystallized that for me, that I was too green, was this particular experience. Okay, so in this particular class, the teacher notices that one of the students just decided to take her makeup kit out and started applying makeup. So the teacher calls her out. Ellie, what do you think you're doing? Without batting an eyelid, Ellie looks at the teacher and goes, But miss, we have to be gorgeous for Rudy. Rudy is me, by the way. She was referring to me, the teaching assistant in the class, not a fellow student. The whole class bursted in laughter. So did I. But it just made me think. Imagine me as a teacher and I'm having this type of interaction with the students. It wouldn't fly. It just wouldn't fly on so many levels. If a student is comfortable enough to say something like that to me, what sort of crowd control am I able to manage? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever the case, this really cemented in my mind that I'm not cut for these teaching things yet. Let me become a little more mature, gain a little more gravitas. So I thought, no, let's get out of teaching. Let's change our mind. Let's do something else. I had no clue what to do, though, what that something else would turn out to be. And as it turns out, that something else took many forms. So we're going to be delving in that. And next time, I will tell you how I went from the classroom setting to the kitchen setting. So stay tuned for that. Ciao. I don't like this angle.
I'm homebound, but the long way round. 'Twas a long holiday. My life was ebbing away. All the places I've been, what did it all mean? We gotta find out, talk it out. Rudy, I know, here we go. Let's go.